someone who grew up in Edmonton, seeing the activity and how the arena has activated not just the development of a hotel, but also the whole area around it. It's very exciting. And we know that Edmonton has struggled from a downtown perspective for quite a while. And the way the whole area of the city in and around the arena has come to life is astonishing, actually. And so when you think about that and what's possible here, I mean, no, every deal, everybody's going to look at every deal and say, we're not happy with this, we're not happy with that. The Coliseum had to be replaced because it was definitely beyond its past its best by date. The same thing is true for the Saddle Dome. And if we want to retain that sports franchise attraction, which also puts us on the map across North America, you have to renew infrastructure. Nothing lasts forever. That's just the reality. There's something about renewing infrastructure that we have to do. And in this case, this is important for Calgary. We're looking to continue to attract talent, attract businesses, to diversify the economy. We're looking for a younger population. And generally speaking, that younger population comes from away where they're used to seeing a lot of activity in terms of what they can do with their discretionary expenditures. And so this, from this perspective, it makes sense. And I think the other thing to think about, the arena, the event center, actually, this is not just about an arena, this is about an event center. For the most part, the area where the arena will be going, as well as the event center the whole area being redeveloped, hasn't actually been activated as a tax base because of the fact that Stampede takes place 10 days a year. People come to the area for events, maybe, for hockey games, but there's just a lack. There's no reason to go there otherwise. And so the whole idea is to build residential housing, to have a lot of restaurants and retail. So it becomes another district in Calgary.
It's just kind of a shell game of moving money around. We've had a $1 billion BMO Center expansion. We have now the second promise, or the second time we've had an arena agreement to build a new arena. And yet there has been only one yet to be named hotel development next to the BMO Center named, and no new redevelopment in the area. And if you just look across McLeod Trail to the west side of the Beltline, you'll see cranes everywhere. Redevelopment is happening. And it's happening because it's a desirable place to live, because we're investing in parks, we're investing in active modes transportation, there's affordable places to live. And that's really what encourages development. I would point out that the Saddle Dome is an iconic and cherished piece on our landscape, very much woven into Calgary's, I think, identity. And I think how the ownership of the Flames have used it to try to describe it as some sort of embarrassment for the city is really underhanded and disingenuous. There actually wasn't a report or an investigation into whether or not, or what it would cost to maintain the Saddle Dome. And I think if we're making billion-dollar decisions with public money as a city, we shouldn't be basing those on vibes. It's been pointed out over and over again that big tours, the challenges of working within the older Saddle Dome, fair enough. Project Calgary, the organization that I'm part of, took a look at all the shows that were booked at Rogers Place, the Saddle Dome in Calgary, and Rogers Arena in Vancouver since 2023. And what we found was that the number of shows at Rogers Place in Edmonton and the Saddle Dome was virtually identical, booking all the way into 2025. All of the arguments aside about how the Saddle Dome is a more difficult arena to operate within, sure. But at the end of the day, it shakes out that the Saddle Dome is getting the exact same number of shows as this shiny new $1 billion, whatever it was in Edmonton.
I think it's maybe an indictment on all of us, maybe, that we do get sick and tired and intolerant of buildings once we see shinier buildings in other cities.
You've been to the Saddle Dome. I've been to the Saddle Dome in the last 2 years. Yeah, the outside, I agree. It's not that bad. It could use some fresh coats of paint, some LED walls, some other things that could help it out that Rogers Place has here. But when you go inside, when you go in the bathrooms, when you go in the corridors, you really start to see how this building has come of age. It's at the end of its life.
Two of the big skyline improvements in Edmonton have been the new arena, which Edmontonians I think are pretty proud of, pretty excited about, and the Walterdale Bridge.
Sure.
Very different projects, funded very differently. Obviously, the public uses the bridge more than the public uses the arena. Like when you get that new bridge, when you get that new arena, when you get that beautiful new park, it does something for the psyche of the city.
The vibe, like you were saying, I come from South Side to Edmonton every day, and when I go over that bridge, it's just a feeling of, hey, I'm in the mix, I'm downtown, I'm part of this city, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing I will say is number 3 there, like you talk about the skyline, also all the towers that went up around it is number 3. And those just make our city, everyone always, Edmonton, there's no skyline. Now look at it, right? It looks like a bustling downtown community.
Ken said, let Murray Edwards, the owner of the Flames, get a loan. You can't tell me that Edwards wouldn't be able to find a bank or an investment fund that wouldn't lend him a boatload of money with relatively low interest. I don't know. I think that those guys can typically operate how they see fit. But billionaires become billionaires for a reason. Stepping on people, getting the best deals, squeezing blood out of stones.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's not like everybody that the public funds that made the Edmonton Arena possible meant that everybody could attend an Oilers playoff game for $49.99. Right?
At all.
I mean, like the ticket prices that people are paying are unbelievable. That's maybe an entirely different conversation.